Welcome everyone to Optavia Together Live breakout session. We're going to be talking about the fundamentals of coaching. Actually, the very first fundamental of coaching, identify. But before I get into that, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Brian Drollinger. I've been a coach now for over 18 years. Basically started at the beginning. I think I was one of the first 100 to get involved in the business. There's not too many of them left. But I followed Dr. Anderson all the way. And loved his mission, loved what he represented, and just got passionate about it. Of course, I had others to help me, like Dan Bell and others, and it's been a great journey, but it's been interesting. Let's put it that way. It's been a lot of rough times along the way, but it's been fun, and I've learned a lot from it. When we first started, there wasn't really anything but the product. We didn't have really the habits of health or anything, so we're kind of on our own there. And the coaching, we just kind of, we're trying to figure it out. Let's put it that way. And now we have so much that's available to all the coaches today. And when I started, I was a contractor up in Portland, Oregon, and now I live in Idaho. But I guess from the outside, people looking in, they think, he was pretty successful. He has his own business. I think I had 8 employees at the time. I had a manager. I had some sales reps, and I was an adult babysitter. That's what I was. I was also married and had 4 kids at the time. Now I have 7. I always tell people results not typical, unless you want those results. We can talk later about that. But anyway. What's interesting is I was basically broke. I mean, in a lot of ways. Financially, I was going through a business bankruptcy. Physically, I was 30 pounds overweight. Mentally, I was torn up inside. A lot of different things going on. I didn't have a lot of time with my kids or my family, my wife, because I was working all the time. And when I found this, I met Dr. Anderson. I actually became a coach and a client the same day. I knew I wanted something different in my life, and I tried other things along the way that didn't quite work out the way I'd like them to. And but I knew that this was different. I knew that this was something that I could get behind. And so I got healthy myself, started getting other people healthy, and within a year's time, I was doing pretty good. And I continued that journey. Actually, within 2 years, I was full-time in this business, and I've never looked back. Helped a lot of people along the way, like I said, both physically and financially. And it's been really a dream job. I don't call it a job, but it's been a lot of fun, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So let's get into what determines success or failure. Now, I always like to say I failed my way to success, because I really have failed a lot of times. A lot of times with this business, as well as other things I've done in my life. But if you learn from your failures, they're not failures. I mean, they are, but they're something that you can work on. And there's 3 things that really determine success in this business. And that is the right motivation, the right mindset, and then the skill sets. We're going to be talking about one of those skills today. But when I got involved, I was really motivated. I wanted this really badly, and because of my current situation, I was looking for something different. Mindset. I always knew I could do anything that I put my mind to. That's one thing that I did have. I also didn't mind if people said no to me. So I guess there's another mindset thing that I had. But I learned different things along the way in the 18 years I've been doing this. And the skill sets, some of those I was lacking. So I kind of had to learn as I went along. So here's the 6 steps from candidate to client or Optavia coach. Identify, approach, present, follow up, start up, and coach. All of them are very important. Today, of course, we're going to focus on identify. So let's get into why we're going to focus on that, and what is the purpose of identify? Why is that important? Well, you identify to determine who would be a good client or a coach candidate. Um, and why is that a critical skill? Well, if you're not identifying those people, you're not able to fill your funnel. And we know that some of these people are going to become clients or coaches, and some are not going to be right away, and some will come later. It's all in the numbers. I always tell people it's all in the numbers. I tell people the only difference between me and you is I've talked to more people, and I had more no's sent my way, and it's not, it's never a no for me. It's always like they don't know enough, or it's not the right timing, or whatever. So it's just building the relationships over time. But if you don't have the funnel filled, you don't have a business. That's where your clients and coaches come from. And there's different ways of acquiring clients and coaches. So we're going to get into that today. But there's two possible candidate options, of course. There's those that are seeking better health. They want our optimal health program. And this is not just people that are overweight. A lot of times we put on those glasses when we first get into the business. We go, okay, this person's overweight, this person's overweight. That's how you're looking at it. But that has nothing. Well, it has something to do with it. But there's a lot of people out there that need better health that maybe they're not overweight, and they're looking for something. Then there's the business side of it. People that want to become a independent Optavia coach. And a lot of people obviously don't know it until you let them know what it's all about. So it's all about giving people an opportunity. I always tell people that I'm doing them basically a favor when I'm talking about the program or the business, because it's going to do more for them than it's going to do for me in both situations. And also, we look at the trilogy of optimal health: healthy mind, healthy body, healthy finances. Those are three very important things. Also, there's purpose. And a lot of people want purpose in their life. They want to be a part of a mission. They want to leave a legacy. They want, there's a lot of things there. So what I try to get people to think about, so they don't prejudge anyone, is this: who do you know that's ultra healthy, has all the time, all the money that they need or that they desire, and they have a purpose? They're mission driven, and whatever their mission is, they're able to pay that forward and give people that same opportunity. Just think about that. Who do you know? And if you can't think of anybody, then everybody you know is a candidate for this business. Every single person. Okay, so where do we find candidates? Well, there's a lot of ways to find candidates. And the first thing we should do is go to our center of influence. Right at the very center, there's friends, family, coworkers, people that we work with, that we're there for, acquaintances. Then it goes into a little bit in the outer circle, specialty niches, like doctors and nurses, different people in the health profession, social media. And I'm going to stop here for a second on this because I have a story to tell. So I did have a lady one time at a chiropractic office that I put on as coaches, and she was the front desk lady, and she said, "I really want to do this business, but I don't know anybody." And we all know a few hundred people at least. And the chiropractor that was there, that's in the business, he said, "Let me see your phone." So he got her phone, and of course she had like 100 contacts. You don't know these people? And so anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there because we all know a bunch of people. We just, a lot of times, again, we prejudge before we offer. So acquaintances, so I went through that, local community clubs. Then we get into networking groups, meeting people, events, trade shows, and advertising. And notice that the center is the family and friends. So who should you go to first? You probably should go to the people you love the most. And those are people that you're associated with. And again, don't prejudge any of them, because you don't know what they're looking for. You have no idea until you ask, until you start digging deeper. And then, of course, doing the health assessments and the explorers and all those things, which come later. But first, we're going to talk again about identifying these people. So here's a lot of different areas you could be looking at. Now, I would like you to, should have had you do this earlier, but take a piece of paper out and a pencil or a pen. And basically, when I'm talking about things like this, and you think of somebody in your mind, please write it down. There's actually a great exercise that we're going to talk about in a second here. But as I'm doing this presentation and somebody's coming to mind, write them down. And here it is right here, finding client and coach candidates. Actually, if you look in Coach Answers, you'll find this document. And I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but it basically goes through and, you know, it's a memory jogger. You know, it kind of gets you thinking about all the people that you know. And it's a very good exercise to do. You could do it within probably 30 minutes. And I wouldn't be surprised if you had 100 names on a list of clients and 100 names on a list for coaches, for coach candidates. There's actually 2 sheets of paper for that, 100 each. And then you want to pick the top 20 that you think you want to go right now and talk to them. And of course, you're going to, if you're brand new, of course, you're going to talk to your business coach, your health coach, your business coach, and you're going to find out how to do the approach. All we're doing right now is writing names down. So if anything, again, comes to mind, just write a name down. And I would highly recommend doing this exercise. I don't have time to do all of this today, but you can go through and it'll give you different things, and you'll be like, oh yeah, this person, this person, this person. So specialty niches, you know, these are the people that are already in the healthcare industry. They're already servicing people. Could be a physician. It could be a nurse. It could be a chiropractor. It could be a fitness instructor, physical therapist. You know, again, if any of these are ringing a bell and you're like, oh yeah, I know somebody, you know, write it down. But these are very important. And I'll tell you another story. I like stories. I met somebody at church that was a chiropractor, and I decided to go get my back adjusted. Now, I'm very focused and very like, okay, this is what I'm doing. So if I'm looking for something, this is after I moved to Idaho from Portland. And my intention was, yes, to get my back adjusted. I did have some issues there. But I actually went to him and a bunch of other chiropractors too at the time, and I don't know if he knows this or not. But I was looking for somebody to work with in this business, in that area. And I didn't know hardly anybody at that time in this area. So anyway, it took about 6 months, over about a 6-month period before he actually he didn't have much weight to lose, got on the program. And I remember his partner like saying, no, I'm not doing this. And now he's very excited about it. So, you know, it takes time though. It was about a 6-month period of time. And finally he got on the program, and they ended up becoming global directors. But it took time. And I want this to be very clear to you. You're not going to get it all at once. It's going to come in periods of time. But it's building those relationships, developing those relationships. So there's 2 ways to expand your list of candidates beyond your warm contacts. And those are always the ones you start with. And I love it when somebody says, well, you know, I'm going to go advertise, or I'm going to go do something when they first get into this business. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. Go work on your list of people that you know. So please do that first. But expanding your list of candidates beyond your warm contacts, you can do it 2 ways. You can do it in person, which right now with the environment's a little difficult to do, but you can also do it virtually. And what's nice about what we have with this business, you know, a lot of people are really getting into Zoom, and they understand it a little bit better because of what's happened. And also with social media like Facebook and stuff, people actually are on there and doing different things and trying different things that can help them get candidates for their business. And so that's great. I mean, you got to take the positives out of this. And that would be a positive, that you're actually going to learn maybe it's something that's out of your comfort zone. And that's okay, because that's good, actually. Get out of your comfort zone. So building relationships and getting involved. Now, this is key to your business, because there's already people in your community that you know. Okay, if you have children and you know, they're going to different activities and stuff, there's their parents, their friends' parents. there's volunteer, religious, civic affiliations and groups. And I already mentioned one that I actually developed through church. I mean, met a chiropractor, went to his office. There's actually another one that actually comes to mind too, where I knew him from church, because we were in the same church, and he became a coach, and then he knew somebody from church that became a coach, and they knew somebody, and actually it ended up, and it didn't happen for about 5 years, but it ended up leading me to an integrated presidential director. Again, it's that time period. Special interest groups and clubs. Facebook special interest group. Think about it. Right now is a great time for you to look at things that you're interested in, start a group or get involved in different groups. BNI and other networking groups. Those are great. I have a lot of coaches that use those. And Chamber of Commerce and civic groups. I actually, when I first started in this business, the first year I was involved in 3 different chambers. And it actually led me to some executive directors. Meetup groups, meetup.com. That's another place to look. So there's all these different ways of building relationships, and it's really comes down to you getting involved. Let's move on. Okay, reasons to consider joining a networking group. And again, networking groups they're not for everybody, but there's some people that have success, some people that don't. It just depends on, again, getting involved in it, getting to know people. That's really what it comes down to. And you're just going to get in front of other business owners, expand your warm market, increase connections, develop relationships, learn valuable skills, inspire and serve other people. There's a lot of reasons for joining these groups. But I love this right here, this quote, networking is more about farming than it is about hunting. Think about that for a second. Farming is where you plant a seed and you nurture it, you help it to grow, and then you cultivate at the end, right? Hunting is what? Go for the kill. You do not want to hunt in this business. Don't be a hunter. Be a farmer. Okay, so there's other ways you can, acquire clients and coaches and look for candidates, and that is through trade shows, conferences, speaking events. When I first moved, actually at the very beginning, I actually got involved in different shows, different health shows and different kinds of things. Again, different environment than today. We didn't have social media. We didn't have that to look at. And if you look at your social media account, look at all the names you have on it. I mean, you can keep on acquiring names and keep on developing relationships. It's not about putting in the names. It's not about adding the friends, right? It's about the relationships you develop in the background. It has nothing to do, like up front, it looks nice, if you have 5,000 friends, but it's not going to do you a bit of good if you're not developing those relationships. But the same is true with trade shows and different things. It's about developing the relationships over time. Very seldomly have I ever done a show where it paid off right away. In fact, I think one time it did. That's it. I've done quite a few shows. So it's important to note that it's all about the follow-up. And it's all about how you have the name, you connect on Facebook, all these different things. But when I moved to Idaho, I remember I didn't know a whole lot of people, and I decided to do the Idaho State Fair. And I got a booth, and I had a friend. There was 2 people that I did know here, and they both became coaches. I actually had one of them work the fair with me that first year. And it led to me talking to one of the vendors and getting him on the program through my friend. He had actually talked to him already, and so I did that. And then that person became a coach, became an executive director. And then a few years later, he signed up somebody through a networking group, through a BNI group, I think it was, and signed him up, and he became a global director. So do you think that do you think that there was a payout there? Yeah, there was a payout there. But it took time. Again, it happened in years, not in a few days. Also, I mean, everybody knows the Millers. I did a kiosk 18 years ago at a mall. Now, I don't even think you can do kiosk anymore, and I wouldn't recommend it. I've had people try to do it after that, and it didn't work out too well. But I will tell you this: that led me to the Millers eventually through other people and I think the only person I got at the kiosk that actually signed up, there may have been two, but I think he was the only one that actually really panned out and it was like a 2 month I had it. But that led over a period of years to the Millers getting involved, and then the rest of the story. So that kind of paid off for me a little bit, I think. But again, it's not for everybody. Shows, events, different things, and what I would do is I would pick a few of these and go with it, but also talk to your business coach. Always talk to your business coach first and your leaders, and find out what they're doing and what's working for them. But different strokes for different folks, guys. There's a lot of different things. And people do ask me all the time, like, how did you build a successful business? And I always tell them I did everything I could. I always looked for opportunities. I always took advantage of opportunities. If there was an opportunity, I took it and I did it. That was just my entrepreneur spirit and how I worked, how I did it. But there's a lot of growth that can come through organic growth and helping a person achieve better health, and then either having them become a referral source for you, an advocate, or an Optavia coach. And by the way, when I'm coaching somebody, and first of all, when I'm looking at somebody as being a client or a coach, I always have in mind coach. That's just the way I'm wired. Because I want to build teams. I want to build a network of coaches. Some of you are not at that point. Maybe you just have a few clients. You're not thinking that big yet, but you could. It just depends. And if you just wanted to service clients, that's perfectly fine. But I always, when I got somebody on the program, even if it was somebody that was they were interested in getting healthy, so I went that direction with them. Once I put them on the program, once they put in their order, I let them know. You can either refer people or become a coach. That's your two choices. There's only two choices, only two options there, guys. I never had anybody say no, because it's like there's two choices, right? You're going to say you can either become a coach or refer people to me. Which one do you want? And I would let them know what the opportunity was. And I did that multiple times. I didn't do it just once. I did it multiple times. A lot of times people will do it just once, and they don't get anything, and they're like, well, I asked them about it, or asked her about it. It comes in time, and you have to repeat yourself. That's what I found. But that's what I do. That's what I've done since the beginning. And because of that, I put on at least 1 in 5 clients as a coach. That's not the numbers for the company, though. And I think it is because of the mindset. So if you have a shift in that, hopefully maybe you'll have a shift today and say, you know what, I need to start building teams of coaches. I think that sounds good. So it just depends. But that was my mindset from the beginning. And 90% of consumers around the world say they trust word of mouth from their friends and family above all other forms of advertising. That makes sense. That really makes sense. 70% trust other consumer opinions posted online. And doesn't that make sense? I mean, when you hear somebody say something good about something, you want to try it. You want to do it. If you're looking for something like that. And one thing about it, that if somebody is getting healthier and they're losing weight, their appearance changes, that they're going to have people ask them the questions. So you can either refer people or become a coach. Refer people or become a coach. Say it multiple times and let them know what that means. Maybe you offer referral credit. We can get into that in just a minute. Or, you let them know what the coaching offers, and you obviously do an explore call with them and all that after that. But don't not give the opportunity. Don't hold it, because you're giving them a gift. You're really giving them something that is it's gonna be more. They're gonna benefit more from it than you, and that is as a client or as a coach, because of the way our compensation plan is designed. Okay, so again, go back to Coach Answers and type in how do I ask for referrals, and you'll find this on there, and you'll be able to print it out and watch a short video. So I'm not going to get a lot into this, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that when your client is getting healthy, people are talking. They are talking. If you don't train your client to refer people to you, to say the right things, and maybe even offer them like a wellness credit, that's what I do, incentivize them, they're going to refer people to Optavia, and they're probably going to get a different coach. Just keep that in mind. If you want to build your business properly and you want to take advantage of every opportunity again, you want to look into this and make sure that you're doing it right. Also, just a kind of a side note here. Again, if people do go to Optavia, they ask if they want a coach, right? And then there's a leads process, and they give them out to those that are certified executive, different qualifications there. But I've actually had leads come from the company that actually became global directors. So I want to make it very clear that if you do get a lead, make sure that you follow up and do all the things you need to do. Some are better than others, but look, it's another opportunity. Okay. So, what is the ultimate goal with Optavia? I don't know what your ultimate goal is, but my ultimate goal is to build a business, to build a sustainable business, to build something for the future, something that I have now, basically, something where I can spend more time with my family and friends and do the things I want to do. So, very important to figure out what that ultimate goal is for you. But mine is time freedom, having the money to do things I want to do, to be able to pay it forward in a big way, to be able to leave a legacy, to help other people do the same. And that's what I'm looking for. So meeting people you don't know. Confidently expanding your reach daily. I want you to think about that word daily. Very important that you touch your business daily and that you're always looking for new candidates for your business. And take advantage of any opportunity that you have to do that. So I'll tell you a story, another story here. And then I got another one for you after that. I was in the grocery store and I was getting something and I was standing in line, and a call came in, and it was a client that had lost 20 pounds. And I was in line and I was thinking to myself, there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity here. There's people in front of me, behind me, and they can hear what I'm talking about. So I'll be a little bit loud so they can actually hear what I'm saying. And I'll be a little bit excited about it. And I was excited anyway. So it was authentic. But I said, you lost 20 pounds? Wow, that's great. I put down the phone and everyone in line asked for my card. True story. So sometimes you create opportunities for yourself. You've got to always be, in that creative mode. But how do you engage with people? I like this acronym, FORD, because these are the things you engage with people in. You're talking about their family. You talk about what do they do for a living. If you ask somebody what they do for a living, eventually they will ask you what you do for a living, as long as you listen to them first. Recreation, what do they like to do? Dreams, when you get to that point, you start talking about dreams, that's when things get interesting. But be more interested in them than you are interesting to them. Be interested in them. That's very important. Okay, so your story, crafting your story. There's also, again, Coach Answers, Crafting Your Optavia Story. It talks about that in there. I think there's a video in there, and it talks about how to do that. I'm not going to go through all of that today, but I do want to make sure that you know that your story is authentic, that it's real, it's you, and it's concise. It's not like super long. In fact, we always like to keep it under a minute. And it's compelling, inspirational, and relational. So, and how do you get better at your story? You tell it often, right? Make sure that it's not I always tell people, make it a testimony, not a life-a-mony. Not just keep on going and going and going and going. You're trying to get them to see the picture of what is possible for them. That's all you're doing, and you got to do it in a very short amount of time. But practice that, and please go to Optavia, go to Coach Answers and look at this, and download everything and look at the video and everything. This will help you out with your story, and again, talk to your business coach. I do want to tell you, like I said, another story, and I was in Oregon right before I left to Idaho, and I went to the gym, and I decided to get a trainer, and I got the trainer, and I was working out, and I met this guy at the gym. Now this is quite a while ago, and I've been working out now for about a year, working on myself, working on muscle and everything else. But back then I hardly had any muscle at all, and so I was like straining, every time I was trying to do something. And there's this guy that I met. He was buff, he was big, he was a bodybuilder. Basically, it was in shows and all that, and I went over to him, and I just started a conversation. And of course, when I got to the point of like I'm a health coach and stuff, he probably was like, "Yeah, whatever, guy," But anyway, I wasn't afraid of it. I was talking about it, and I asked him what he did first, and he told me he had a bunch of businesses and everything. I'm like, ding, ding, ding. He's an entrepreneur. He loves doing that, and he loves obviously working out. So there was a connection there. And after about the sixth time of talking to him, like going back to the gym, and it was over a few months, he finally said, "You need to talk to my wife." And I went back to the office, and she was like also ripped. She was like, she didn't have any weight to lose or anything, but she goes, "I really love health, and I want to help people." Well, she only put on 2 clients, her mom and dad, and they lost a bunch of weight. They became coaches. I reached out to them. And eventually, over time, I think she came to our first convention that year, the same year she got in. And she became a presidential director over time. And she actually became a presidential director through shows, through doing events. So that does work. But that was her thing. But I wanted to let you know about that story as well. So make sure you have your story down. And when somebody asks you what you do for a living, what works and what doesn't work depends on who you're talking to. So you got to kind of fill the situation out and find out, like, okay, so is this person interested in better health, maybe an opportunity, and you can find that out as you're asking questions of them. And when I first started in this business, I was more about talking about the program, or talking about, hey, you can lose weight, get healthier. And again, we didn't have the habits of health back then, but we still knew that they could lose weight and they could get healthier. And we didn't quite have a maintenance plan back then, but we figured it out over time. But this is the thing, is I would say I help people get healthy. That's what I do. I got healthy myself. This is my story. And that worked. I was able to put on a lot of people on the program. But there are situations where somebody came into play that maybe was an entrepreneur, owned a business or whatever. And so I would have a different story. I would talk a little bit differently with him or her. And now, then I became a business coach and a business leader. And now I basically say I'm a business coach helping other coaches, helping their clients get healthy. Something like that. It would be different, maybe a little different every time. But you kind of get it, what I'm talking about, hopefully. It's just real important that it's not the same thing for everyone, okay? But make sure you have that down too. And okay, so this is a very important one here. Common mistakes. I've made all 6 of these. Sometimes I still do. I still sometimes make mistakes on these things. But being too anxious, being overly promotional. I know you can't believe this. Sometimes I do that. Being too enthusiastic, talking too much. Remember, you want to ask questions, not talk about yourself all the time. Telling too much. This is an important thing too. When you're talking to somebody for the first time, you're not giving them a program presentation or an opportunity presentation. You're trying to get a time with them when you can do that. So you want to separate the two. Separate, the presentation from, the approach. Not comfortable with the silence. So you're not comfortable. I mean, you ask a question, maybe there's a little bit of silence. You dive in and start talking about other things. You want to make sure that you're not doing some of these common mistakes. Like I said, they are very common. But if you catch yourself, then you can learn from it. So very important. So meeting people. So after you've met somebody, what do? Again, you're not going to do the presentation right then. You're going to get their information. And I used to have business cards. I don't anymore. I have my phone, and I have Facebook, and I friend them on Facebook. I'm able to put them in maybe in different groups. They can check things out. And I think that's the best way of doing it. We haven't talked too much about social media today, and that's a great way, obviously, to build connections and to acquire clients and coaches. Even I have through that, but it's not the only way, as you can tell by today. But you want to use Facebook for sure. And I always try to friend them on Facebook. If they don't have Facebook, then I get their information so I can call them back. And you want to connect with them soon. You don't want to wait. You don't want to wait a very long time. You want to connect with them within 24 to 48 hours. And then you can do the presentation. So where does this lead us? Leads us back to this funnel. You want to be constantly filling this funnel, continually with different things that you're doing. Different opportunities that come your way, maybe even creating a few opportunities yourself. Healthcare professionals, trade shows and conventions, networking groups, warm contacts. Notice the warm contacts are right in the center there. That's what you start with. Hopefully you've got that. And again, if you're interested in like these networking groups or shows, different things like that, please talk to your mentor first. Don't just go out and spend a bunch of money. That doesn't make any sense, especially if you're brand new. Doesn't make any sense. Work with your warm contacts. Social media, work with that. Work with the conversation, all these different things that are there. The referrals and your entrepreneurs. Create conversations. Your niche groups, the different things that are out there. Work with all of this, and then out of the funnel. Again, it starts up here and it goes down here. Not everybody's going to say yes, but out of that, you're gonna have a business of clients and coaches, if that's what you truly desire to do. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for being on today, and I hope you got something out of it. And have a great rest of your day, and learn a lot about what's going on. These slides will be available to you, I think, after this, so you'll be able to look at those. Hopefully you have on your piece of paper some names already that you're putting down, jotting down, and so you can do that next step, which is approach. So thank you.